about the 1988 cult classic, They Live.
Yes.
Top
Yeah.
line, I forgot how good this movie was. It's been a
You
long time
did?
since I've
How
seen
could
it.
you forget it?
This is the first time I've seen this movie, which isn't surprising, seeing as I was literally born the year it came out. So there wasn't much Donnell
Little
around
difficult, yeah.
to check this movie out.
No
It was
osmosis from your
was
mother.
not what I
suppose?
expected. From
I don't think that's
from
the kind of movie that Donnell's mom is gonna
Oh,
watch.
okay. I was just
No.
asking.
I've never
No.
met the woman, but from what I've gleaned from Donnell talking to her over the phone or about her,
she would not be watching They Live. No, definitely. Even if she had watched it, she would not be sharing that with her child.
uh,
I thought she was a big wrestling fan, so that's why I was wondering.
So, Bob, any particular reason you picked this movie?
I think we were we either had some back and forth to pick a movie, and then I'm like, hey, what about this one? Have you guys done this one? And I think it was just because I haven't watched it in a while. And
Yeah.
And the other reason was because I have, somewhat fond memories of watching it. So
did you rewatch it for this, or you just going?
Oh, I did. No, I
Okay.
I rewatched it. I rewatched it all, and the funny thing is, it's been a while. I'll be honest with you. I probably watched it. Last time I watched it was probably on. Well, no,
home video on VHS.
It had to be a VHS. I'm pretty sure, or a DVD, maybe a DVD, but it was early DVD if it was the DVD at all. But yeah, and there's aspects of it that are really prescient.
I mean, it's a good follow up to the last movie that we talked about, which was Brazil.
Yeah. Oh, apparently, they're all kind of in the same vein, aren't they?
Yeah.
This movie, for me, I was just like, "Are you sure this wasn't made today?"
Oh it is super topical.
So much of it I was just like,
topical.
"Damn."
They talking about now.
And then also that also made me sad. It was like, this came out in 1988, and I'm like,
1988.
we're still dealing with the same shit.
Nobody learns. Nobody learns.
Like, good to know that 40 years ago we were like, man, this is messed up. I mean, and now 40 years later, like, man, this is messed up.
It's the same old battle that's been going on for 10,000 years.
True.
True. It's nothing new, but a very good take on it. So so this movie came out November 4th, 1988. Had a budget of $3 million and made $13.4 million. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, at the box office, it made 13. I'm sure it's made a lot more.
So. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
But I was about to say, it's like you hear those numbers today, and you're like, man, that's a small, like 3 million, like that's a small movie, and 13, that's barely made it. But it's like, no, if you're 1988 that time, like, that 3 million is quite the budget for a movie.
Yeah.
And then, pulling in over 100% of what you make, like that.
I think for a Carpenter movie, that was a pretty big budget at the time.
And this is this movie did not feel like a John Carpenter movie. This is outside his wheelhouse.
When I saw this was made by John Carpenter, I was like, what?
I mean, he does kind of weird, kind of B-level stuff, but usually it's more like vampires and monsters and stuff. I mean, I guess it's monsters, but this is very much, psychological, like more so than other stuff that he's done.
They list it on Wikipedia as science fiction action horror, and I was like, I don't agree. I think they just threw the horror tag on there because John Carpenter made it.
Right, because he made Halloween, and so everything he makes is horror.
I was like, I don't see this as a horror movie in any way, shape, or form. But
a brisk 94 minutes long. Always love to see it. A nice hour and a half movie. Watched it this morning
in the day
before we recorded. And I tell you, it started out very slow and then goes from 0 to 400 real fast.
Right. It is insane.
It's like he's just wandering around town. And I don't want to get too deep into it yet, but he's just wandering around town, and then all of a sudden he's shooting up a bank within like 5 minutes.
That's right.
You're just like, Yeah.
I mean, it was a bit of a paced beginning, I would say. Slow pace, but
a lot of walking,
at 90 minutes it flew by, right? I mean, you were like, hey, that's done. All right.
I mean, the whole story takes place over 48 hours or something like that.
Right,
Maybe 72. Like, it's crazy.
It's not an overly, well, the funny thing is, I would say it's not an overly complicated movie, but it's an extremely complicated movie.
Yes. Agreed. 100%. Yeah. 7.2 rating on IMDb. I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect. Yeah.
That sounds solid right there.
So I like to, I mean, this movie is not a flop by any means.
No, not at all.
But I do like to look at what it was up against at the box office around that time. So I look a month into the past and a month into the future of when it came out, which in the 90s, like now movies are like theater 2 weeks and then get to streaming. But back in the 80s, like those movies would be in there for like a year, right?
Right.
So it was competing with everything. So yeah, November 4th when it came out, October 7th, Alien Nation, a fantastic film.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, spawned a TV show, which is also fantastic. October 21st, Mystic Pizza. I don't know if they were really they're competing for dollars, like everybody's going to the theater competing for dollars, but they're not in the same genre.
I believe there was a bubblegum line in that movie as well. Mystic Pizza.
A big movie, October 29th, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
I've never seen that.
Oh, you need to. We need to cover it, Donnell. It is wild. He morphs into a car. He has a claymation dance off with a rabbit cop. It's wild. Joe Pesci is in it as like a nefarious drug dealer. It is okay. It is out of control. He turns into a giant robot that shoots lasers out of his eyes.
What is the premise of this movie?
I have nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's just they gave Michael Jackson a camera and he had $1 billion.
Yeah, you making this movie look that much better. You know that? I was talking about Moonwalker.
November 9th, after this movie came out, Child's Play, Chucky, the first Chucky movie.
All right.
Big horror movie for sure.
And
then November 18th, The Land Before Time.
Oh, dang it.
Of course.
Which,
that is terrible.
Made $1 billion in 1988 money.
Which you saw, Donnell, out of the womb. You saw that one. I know you did. So
I didn't see it out of the womb, but I did see that in my childhood and watched like so many of them. And after everyone, I was like, why are they still making these? And then
there's like 26 of them.
There's too many. I do think they're done making. I don't think they've made any in like a decade. So I think it's finally over.
It's no longer before. They've been making them so long. It's no longer before time.
Yeah.
I think they caught up.
There's a possibility that someone out there is going to do a relaunch at some point, be like, time the return, be like, no.
Yeah.
Directed and written by John Carpenter.
Yep.
We don't have time to go through his litany of stuff over the decades, but does anybody have a favorite John Carpenter film? I'll start. Mine
besides this one.
Besides this one, yeah. Or I mean, if this is your favorite one, that's perfectly fine.
No, actually, my favorite one's The Thing.
Oh, okay.
There you
Fantastic
go.
choice. Fantastic choice.
Solid.
Mine is I'm gonna do two because they share the same space. Escape from New York, Escape from LA, which we covered on this show.
I was gonna go with Escape from New York.
You can absolutely get it. There's no reason that it can't be your favorite too, Donnell.
Yeah. I had it written down as if we were gonna mention somewhere. I had Escape from New York, and then of course, obviously, you gotta mention Halloween because the man created a horror franchise icon. So you got.
I've never been a fan of the Halloween.
Oh, I'm not a fan of it, but I also will not sit here and act like it didn't literally change.
It's a big deal. No, I respect its place in the culture, but I just never been.
I've always been more of a Jason fan. That's just me. That's how I feel.
Notably, this movie is based on a short story written by Ray Nelson.
Yep.
I've never read the short story. But
I looked up the short story. I have not read it, but I do have it. It's only 8 pages, so it is literally a short.
Really,
story.
That's really short. Yeah,
it's 8 pages. We could bang it out in a
that was
moment here. But
we're
not
almost
going
as much
to.
dialogue as Arnold Schwarzenegger had during the whole 80s, right there.
Actors.
Real quick, and only before we usually don't do it, but I do want to get shout out the producer Larry Franco. One, because they do it in the movie credits, like it's literally like They Live, and the next scene is like a Larry Franco production. And I was like, who's Larry Franco? But also, I looked him up just to see, and the only reason I want to talk about it is one of my favorite movies from as a kid. He also produced Mars Attack,
nice,
which is a terrible movie. But
Mars Attacks is a fantastic movie.
It's like it's a fantastic, but it's meant to be terrible. And it does its job so well.
But that's what makes it fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good bad movie.
Yes, exactly. I loved Mars.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun movie to watch
of all time. And so I just wanted to shout him out because when I saw he made or had a hand in helping make Mars Attack, I was like, well, can't let that go by.
Starring a rowdy Roddy Piper.
I did not know. So I saw this and I see Roddy Piper, and I'm not like, not the Roddy Piper. Yeah. And then it's him. And I was like, man, how did he get this gig? And then I looked it up. I did not know that Roddy Piper was actually an actor.
No, he has a prolific career.
Yeah. He has a ton of acting credits
all the way up to the day he died.
Yeah,
2015.
And this is probably his biggest one, though. This is really what pushed him into doing all the rest of it. So
I mean, what a weird movie, right? For a random wrestler to go into. Could you imagine like Hulk Hogan or The Rock being in something like this?
I do like.
I could see what's his name, John Cena doing
John
like
Cena.
this.
John Cena, maybe. Yeah.
I do like during his fight scene later on with Frank. He gets a couple of wrestling moves in there. I'm like, nobody
with a wrestling move.
Nobody uses
clotheslines him.
Yeah, I was saying. I was like, nobody uses suplexes in a real fight.
You don't think? I can tell you, I've suplexed somebody in a fight.
We're getting to Bob's backstory here.
in my younger days, yes, I suplexed. Actually, as a friend of mine, we were kind of fighting, not totally fighting, and I did. I suplexed him in the living room.
Yeah.
Oh well, that was it. So you were just having some
I don't know if that
fun
counts.
wrestling,
I'm talking about
home wrestling stuff.
No. We were arguing.
A real argument.
Okay.
We were arguing, so it was kind of a friendly fight. But I knocked the wind out of him, and that was the end of the fight.
That'll do it. That usually wraps things up. That's something about fighting. It's like everyone thinks like fights are long and extended. It's like nah. For normal people, like if you're not a professional fighter or someone who does it often, it's like fights pretty go about 30 seconds and then somebody taps out.
Can we talk about like the fight in this between Frank and the main character? I don't even know what Rowdy Piper's like.
They don't say his name, but apparently
they never say his name.
Nada. I was like, they never said his name.
That's a weird name.
Which is Nada means nothing, right?
That fight between them is 5 minutes and 11 seconds long.
Yeah. There's a story.
It may be the longest fight in all of movie history.
It's long enough
between
that
two people.
Both of them at a time take a breathe, stop to take a breather, so the other guy can get up and I'm just
let's continue this.
I'm like, and then it keeps going, and then I'm like, they stop. Oh, it keeps going. Like there was somebody on the side, like ringing a bell.
Yeah.
Like, okay, 10 minutes to your corner, 10 seconds in your corner. Second billing, Keith David playing Frank. Young
Keith David.
David is one of those people. Of course, everybody has been young at some point, but I have never known Keith David as a young man. He's always been the kind of older guy with the voice. And so to me, this was jarring because I was not expecting. I saw Keith, like I said, I saw Keith David in the building, and I did not. When he first showed up, I was like, "Oh, there's some black dude." And he started talking. And I was like, "Is that Keith David?"
I figured it out.
He
didn't have hair.
Once he smiled, I figured it out. But I was like, at first, I did not know that was. He
didn't have. He's always had hair. He's always just been like the fact that he was working. I mean, in the movie, he was working in construction. I was like, no, he's always wearing a suit in most of those roles. I was like, that ain't Keith Davis, but I guess like everybody's young at some point, right?
This movie was my introduction to Keith David, and he is I think he's one of the best actors. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff, but he is a fantastic actor, and every time I see him in a movie, I'm like, I gotta watch it because it's Keith David.
Has insane range.
Yes,
because like he was in several seasons of Community as a comedic character.
Yes, and he's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the heroin dealer in that Jennifer Connelly movie where they do a bunch of drugs.
A Beautiful Mind? Oh my
goodness. Did they do a bunch of drugs in A Beautiful Mind? They did not.
No, I'm joking.
It's the one that's all about people like doing heroin and speed and stuff.
Narc.
Oh my god, I can't know.
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember that movie.
I'm on his thing, but I don't know which one to pull out of here. I'm like, there's a lot. He's another person with, of course, a very, very, very long.
Requiem for
Requiem.
Requiem.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
Third billing on this movie is a woman named Meg Foster.
Yep.
Right. Amazing eyes. Her eyes are crazy.
Her eyes are something else.
I don't know why she gets third billing in this. She's hardly in it.
Yeah,
and like
this was one of her first big movies. Oddly enough, she's a Canadian.
Has she been in any big movies? I looked at her.
No.
Her catalog.
No. After this,
she's a working girl. Don't get me wrong. Totally. She's in stuff all the time, and she's making a good living. But she's in a lot of trash.
Yes. A lot of bad stuff. Yeah.
Hey, like you said,
hey, look, she's doing better than me, so I'm not.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
you
going
can make
through
a career doing trash movies. That more power to you.
Yeah.
I think her biggest movie
was this.
No,
she did. She had a series of movies.
Oh wait, is this No, that's not the Oblivion I'm thinking. I think her biggest movie, looking at this now as I'm going through it, but this is also the smallest of the three movies. I think Jeepers Creepers 3 might be the biggest movie.
Oh, was it?
Or there's a possibility, but it's a voice role that Teen Titans: The Judas Contract is her biggest movie. But I don't know. I'm looking
at
the
big Teen Titans. Come on.
Yeah, it's a great animated movie. Don't get me wrong, but I think
I thought she was in
the universe. The Lords.
I thought she had a series of movies that she was in. Maybe that's somebody else I'm thinking.
I love that they have a man with the iron mask on here, but then when you read the notes, it's like not to be confused with the other man with iron mask who came out in
the better one,
the one that everyone knows of. I mean,
she played Hera in Xena Warrior Princess and Hercules: The Legendary Journeys.
Oh, she's in Twin Peaks as well. Look at that.
She has around.
She's just around.
She's been in some pretty big
episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine,
the Cosby Show, which let's not talk about that. But
anyway,
well, she may have a story there. Who knows?
Yeah,
she did not have a big role in this.
No.
And then there's a cavalcade of other actors. I don't think any of them were really worth mentioning unless you guys do.
She was the original Cagney in Cagney and Lacey. Guys, come on.
I don't know Cagney and Lacey.
I don't either.
You're showing your age, Bob. You're showing your age.
Never mind, you youngsters. I swear to God. She was on Hawaii Five-0 for Christ's sake.
I pointed
$6 million man.
Hey, Robert. Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
I mentioned that.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
I think I'm confusing her because she was in Stepfather 2, which is a B franchise, the Stepfather franchise, and she was also in as I'm looking through here, Oblivion, and Oblivion 2, which is also a kind of B movie franchise. If you guys ever seen Oblivion or Oblivion 2, so.
I've seen a movie called Oblivion, but
I don't think it's
that
the same
movie.
No, it's not that one.
It's not. That's what I was gonna say. It's not, because when I first saw that, I was like, "Oh, here's a big movie she's been in." I was like, "Oh no, it's not."
All right, she was on Sliders. All right, she's on Sliders. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, she's in a bunch of stuff. She's had a career. She gets work and does work.
She's got two things upcoming.
I must say, I feel like she is doing more than well enough with that filmography list. Like she's getting work, and it's solid and it's steady, and like you said, you got two things upcoming. So it's
two things coming.
I think things have worked out very well for her.
Look, I'm not crapping on her. I'm just saying that she doesn't deserve third billing in this particular.
Well, who would you give to?
Would you give it to?
If I was going to give it to anyone, it would be the leader of the resistance.
Peter Jason.
Yeah.
But I don't think he deserves third billing. I think it's really just Nada and Frank here. It's just Keith and Rowdy.
Right. Yeah. Although Peter Jason was in, wasn't he in a couple of Schwarzenegger movies? I thought, but maybe not. I gotta look real quick here because I'm not remembering.
There was a funny one. So Raymond Saint Jacques is in this, and I like in the opening credits, he's listed as the street preacher. It's just a weird credit. It's a weird that you would put a character that doesn't have an actual name.
Yeah,
in the front credits.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, not that many people. You're right. There was a lot of pretty much the two main characters, and it's really their story. So,
Yeah.
Oh, he was in Alien Nation. This Jason guy was Get Out of Town.
Nice.
As well
All
as a side character. I thought he was in something else, but anyway, go ahead. Apologize.
Let's talk about the plot of this movie.
Yeah, let's dive in.
I thought this was New York at first, but I looked it up. It is L.A.
Yeah, it's Los Angeles. Yeah,
just all the trash and graffiti and stuff. I'm like, this feels very New York. Like
1980. Have you been to Los Angeles? This is very Los Angeles. Today,
no,
even. Yeah. It's worse today than it was back then. Believe it or not. Oh my gosh.
We get ourselves a very, as we said, the pacing of this movie is because I didn't time it, but this is a very long walking intro of
3 minutes and 30 seconds.
He's just wandering around town looking at stuff. I mean, he goes into a few buildings and stuff and talks to people, but overall, it's just like I was just like, what is going on here? But during this walk around, he does bump into, as you've already mentioned, our street preacher, given his talk about those who are controlling us and want us sedated and just consuming all the time. And the whole time I'm watching this, I was like, is this I don't know if maybe it was before or after. Is this movie what started the whole how people like, yeah, the elites are lizard people and stuff? I was like,
no, there was
it was definitely way before that. I was like, it's called standing on a soapbox, which is old.
No, not what he was doing.
Oh.
Not that, I know soapboxing. I'm talking about the theory that the elites are lizard people.
No.
This movie, along with also this preacher at the beginning, is like literally hitting on exactly as we always talk about, like the lizard people and the balls and all that stuff.
I think the V movies, the V miniseries was in like 84, so they had the lizard people in there in 84, 83, something like that. Yeah.
So I like so he's a vagabond.
Yeah.
He gets off the train. Right. He's like, I'm guessing he was stowed away on the train. And then he walked across town straight into the job office, which do those exist anymore?
No.
Where you can just walk up to
no, they're still.
Do they? Because
via the government, you can still go to the job service. Yeah, you can still go to job service. Donnell, maybe a place to look. I don't know. Just saying.
I have looked. That's what I'm saying. Is Washington, they're all closed.
But yeah, this man walks in, he sits down and starts talking to this lady
who does not care.
Yeah, she doesn't. Well, because she's seen 100.
I know. But it was like she's like giving his backstory, and I'm like, dude, stop. She's not listening. She's just like ready to check off some boxes and get you out of here.
He must smell terrible.
Yeah.
When he walks in to do this job board interview thing.
Yeah.
And the most he does is take a 30-second hobo shower in a motel on day 3.
Yeah.
Right.
After
he just smelling the worst everywhere he goes. And spends a whole day working construction.
He took his shirt off for a while, so it didn't get too stinky.
So then that's another thing I wrote down is like literally after this he continues walking and then he just walks into a construction yard and be like, "Can I have a job?" And like, man, that was a different time where you could just walk into a place and be like, "Can I work here?"
I will tell you this right now, Donnell. You can walk up to a construction site today.
Yes,
say, I want a job, and they will say, "You got tools on you?" And if you say yes, they will say, "Get to it."
Right, get to work.
You don't know because you don't do that kind of manual labor, Donnell. But I tell you right now,
I don't think because even in this movie, he got a little pushback of this is a union site. I feel like
that was 40 years ago. It's different today.
More with regulations and safety. Like to do my job, even though I never did get it. My last job I had, I was the IT tech guy, and whenever I went on site. Of course, I had to wear a hard hat and stuff, but I was supposed to get safety training. I never did. They never bothered with it. But I was supposed to get safety training just to be on site. I'm like, I'm just the IT tech. I'm not actually even doing anything. I'm not even working. So I'm like, if I have to have safety training and proper training for like being on a construction site, I'm pretty sure anybody who's literally working on it would also. I don't say
that, but
they say, hey, you got safety training? He goes, sure. And I got my own tools. Okay, get to work.
By the way, I don't believe for a second in 1988 if this guy walks onto that site with what they're just digging holes, he would have. I mean, he does get a job.
Yeah,
that day. But to go back to you, Donnell, saying like, oh, I don't think you could do that now. I'm like, literally, they drive to the Home Depot and pick up a group of people in the back of a truck.
Those are like small. I'm talking like, because this looks like an official like.
Oh no, they do that for the big jobs.
Yeah, they do it for everything.
So my background is that my father was a foreman for a construction company for like ever.
Yeah.
So this is just a thing. Yeah. But if I needed a job, I would go do it if I thought my knees or back can handle it. But
right. Yeah.
So what you guys are telling me to do is go walk up to that construction
site. If you really need a job,
if you really need one, you can probably get it, at least work for a day. I mean, at least, you know.
Yeah. So they get done with the construction thing. They're like, hey, you can't sleep here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. True.
And then Frank, played by Keith, is like, hey, just come with me. I'll show you where you can stay. And then like halfway while they're walking, he's just like, why are you following me?
No.
I'm like, you told me.
No,
to.
I thought that too. I had to rewatch the scene because Frank's reaction actually does make sense. They just don't telegraph enough because he walks up to him and says, hey, if you want a place to stay, follow me. And then Roddy Piper kind of looks at him and kind of gives him like a dismissive look and like and looks away. And then he starts following him. So I was like you said, the first time I watched it, I was like, yeah, why are you getting on for following you? The second time I watched, like, why did Roddy Piper kind of like, whatever, man, I don't need you. Like, you gotta do that arrogant, like, whatever, and then looks away. So I was like, yeah, why are you following? Like, why didn't you just say, sure?
He changed his mind. He changed his mind.
He gives his excuse of I don't saddle up with somebody until I know where they're going. And I was just like, and then they both laugh, like, and now we're friends. I'm like, that's a weird way to become friends.
Well,
I'll say this for this movie,
you're not a wrestler.
But I'll say this for this movie. I was like, the thing that was weird for me is I never knew Roddy Piper other than as the wrestler. And when I did start watching wrestler, from the day I started seeing him in wrestling to the day he died, as far as I know, he always had facial hair. So him without facial hair was bizarre for me. And the opposite for Keith Davis. I've always seen him with a full head of hair. So him without being bald, I was like, what is going on? Like, I was like, Roddy Piper has a beard and Keith Davis has hair.
Right.
What is going on with these two?
They switch parts. For this one or something.
Exchange some hair.
So Frank leads them to the shanty town.
Yep.
And apparently, like, the land value in LA has not hit peak yet because this is a big empty lot.
Yeah,
where they can put
I literally wrote down.
I
was like, this place wouldn't exist for more than a week in actual LA.
You guys have to go.
A bulldozer comes through and takes it all down.
No, you have to go to LA at some point because there are parts of LA that literally still look like that.
That's crazy to me.
You don't really want to go there, I'll be honest with you, because I got lost, and that's how I know, because I got lost and was driving around, and there are these empty spaces still that are just, there. And it's not. You're thinking about the LA that you see on regular television where all the night houses
I'm more thinking of, and like they do it here in Seattle. I figure they're doing the same in California because I've searched of how like you're not allowed to be homeless anywhere anymore. Like they come.
Oh no, you are allowed to
and get rid of the tent places all the time. Be like,
no,
go be homeless somewhere else. I'm like, where are they supposed to go?
I was away.
I think
anywhere
it's been a year, but there literally was a million, like millions of dollars, like $10 million home with a blue tarp hanging off their fence and a guy living on it in Los Angeles. I swear, all over the place.
I believe you.
Yeah, a lot of it. I mean, there's a lot of homelessness because the weather's so nice.
I need the logistics, not the logistics, or some sort of understanding. They never show, and maybe it's as simple as a generator, but they're at this abandoned lot. Like you said, he gets there, he has some food. And
can we talk about the food for a second?
Okay.
He gets into a soup line.
Yeah.
But his plate is stacked.
Oh yeah, and they even say you want some more. And he's like, sure, and they give him a second ladle, and I'm like, where's this coming from?
Yeah, it's not like he's just getting in line for some gruel. Like they eat well, right? Shanty town.
Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, they are hooking them up.
They get all the dent cans at the back of the grocery store. They get them out of the dumpster. All the ones that are messed up in shipping.
But yeah, so they're there. This is where we find out one of the many times that he pointed out to us that Keith David's character has a wife and kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Detroit.
He just keeps he multiple. I got a wife and kids, man. Like, we know you've told us like 5 times.
How are they living? Like, what's their life like in Detroit? I need more information.
Oh,
yeah.
Because like he's living in Shantytown, he's trying to make money to send back.
Well,
to
maybe
him.
that's why. He's
Right.
Yeah, all the money.
That's why. Yeah.
So,
And at that time, Detroit wasn't as desolate as it is now. So
it was starting though.
It was
starting though. Yeah, the
that's why
decay
he's
was
there,
well set in. Yeah,
all the factory jobs were.
Well,
closing
I
up.
mean, that's in this universe.
right.
In the They Live universe, you know, the way that they talk about all the plants closing down and all this stuff, it seems like it's way worse. Like
could be.
In the They Live universe of like everything's crumbling, which just tells me that these aliens, spoiler, are bad management.
Oh yeah, these aliens are terrible.
Well, no, they're managing for themselves.
Everybody,
you know,
yeah, but they need peak employment and the wheels of industry turning to make peak money and get richer. It's like if the bottom of the economy falls out, they're in trouble too.
Well, maybe they just take off. Who knows?
I mean, yeah,
that's true. They just leave.
Get out of here. This sucks.
But yeah, so we're at this lot, and they're watching TV, and no one ever questions, and they literally come back. This is skipping ahead, but literally come back after the lot's been demolished, which we'll get to, and the TV is the only thing that's still working. And I'm just like, where's the power coming from this TV?
They ran an extension cord over to the neighbors or whatever.
All the way to the church, across the street, the road there. Just like, where's this?
They hacked into a power
How
pole.
is this
But yeah, on the TV, you live in such luxury. You've never got to see somebody running a cord, down a block to get some electricity. Come on.
I've heard of stealing your neighbor's like power, but not like across the street. Losing it's like your next door neighbor, so it's just going through the yard where nobody.
Or they've wired into a street light or something. We don't have to.
I don't know. That sounds like an original thought to me, Donnell. What? Obey, I say, obey. I do like that they do have the TV outside. That's all sitting on the couch.
Yeah,
I love that the homeless guy who's like down talking the like pirate radio signal or television signal.
Right. Yeah.
On shows up later at the rich people.
I need a lot of questions.
He's a plant in the
I need a They Live backstory about him because
I think they actually did say when we get to that scene, he says something that gives you an idea of why.
But yeah, so the TV signal gets hacked, and it's a guy proclaiming this message of how everybody needs to wake up and stuff. And the only thing I wonder during this is like, did they also hack the pastor's brain because he
was part of the same group.
I know it's not that they're the same group. He's saying the exact same stuff at the exact same time in the exact same cadence. That's the part that got me. Is like as the guy on the TV says one thing, he says it at the exact same time, and I'm like, so what's going on here? I was just like
indoctrination.
I was like, I've been a part of plenty of groups. I've done speeches with people. We never are that insane.
I assumed he was there and listening because he was, it's just across the street and all that stuff. But no, it is very confusing at first before you realize that they're all part of the same Revolutionary Guard or whatever.
Also, why
maybe he wrote it? Maybe he wrote
this movie. Also, I'm just like, hey, if I am going to if there is a secret elite ruling everything and I discover it and I get a group of people together and we're like, we got to get the message out, we got to tell people, we're going to hack into the TV and we're going to do stuff. I'm not showing my actual face. Like the fact that he's just like, here I am, like, what are you doing? Now the secret cabal knows who you are.
It was 1988, Donnell. This is back when you could
just
This is before we had cameras on every, like 20 cameras on every street corner.
But they did have cameras on street corners. You see a little bit later where Nada has to shoot them out. So I'm like, they do have cameras.
That's
yeah, but it's not public knowledge. Like, now. Well, I would put it today as like facial recognition. We're all getting facially recognized when we go out in public. We just don't know it. Yeah. And it's the same kind of deal back then. Whenever you went out in public, you didn't think about there's going to be a camera everywhere, and then there were cameras, but you didn't think. Nobody was like, "Yeah, I'm worried about getting on camera." Nobody worried about getting on camera, you know, at the time. So yeah, same kind of thing.
Didn't even have VHS players yet,
right? Yeah. It was all new tech.
Our main character makes his way over to this church.
Yeah.
Where he starts to listen in on this resistance meeting.
This resistance meeting, which once again, you're supposed to be hiding from the top secret people. Yeah. And I get they got music playing. I do have one issue with that music of as someone who was raised in the church, and I've heard lots of church singing. The first song that was playing was from a white church, but the second song that plays was from a black church. I'm like, that's a red flag right there.
And this was clearly in a Mexican church.
Yeah, I was like, right off the bat, you're like, hold up. And
I mean, look, they're just faking it. They're faking it. They just grab some hymns.
I know. I'm just saying. Anybody who goes to church walking by, be like, they got 2 choirs up in there. I don't think so. But no. And also, the thing, like, you're having your secret meeting in the church, and sure, you might have to answer some questions about why the door is locked, but close and lock the door. Don't leave the door open for people to just wander in. I mean, sure, Nada wanders in and he might help, but like anybody could have been, hey, can I use the bathroom? Oh, you guys having a top secret meeting in here?
Also, hey, what's all this chemicals about?
Yeah,
right. What is all this?
Lab, clearly drug lab. So they're talking and they're like, oh, what are we gonna do? We need to take direct action. You know, the pirate signal's not working. And the guy's like, what are we going to do? Just sit around and make glasses till we're blue in the face? And I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah,
they have boxes of glasses. They should be on the street corner handing them out like candy.
Yeah. So that's another thing. I was like, both. So we get to see kind of 2 sides of the revolution in this. We see the passive side to begin with, where they're like, yeah, we'll hack in. I'm like, nobody's going to believe a random person on TV. And so, like, the original revolution's not going to work. And then we get to see
stop for a second. No one's going to believe a random person on TV.
No, a random person
in 1988.
I mean, what I mean is,
how do you think we got to where we are today? It's all random people on TV.
Yeah, but it's random people that you're expecting to see on TV. And what I mean is this, like, you know, it's random people that we don't know anything about, but it's like, oh, do people listen to the news or fake news or whatever when it comes up and all
how many people in advertisements do you know?
But that's what I'm saying is that's still all we expect to see ads, and then you listen to them. You expect to see the TV shows. But I'm saying when the feed cuts and a random guy is in was never planned to be there, most people are going to be like the I mean, he does turn out to be working with him, but like the homeless dude, be like, what is this? Get me back to my sports sort of thing.
It was a different time back in 1988.
But no, the other thing, but still, I'm just saying, overall, not the most effective plan. No. And then Nada's plan of let's just go and start shooting up people, I'm like, also not effective if you want to get, I was like you were saying, Robert, I'm like, but Nada's
plan was effective.
Well, not really. It kind of all, like, that's what I honestly want to say. Nada is the most backward, stumbling, bumbling hero I have ever seen, because he just keeps even how he gets started, he just keeps accidentally getting results, and it's not even like what he's doing, because what he's doing is honestly making things worse at one point.
I like that he's like, I just play by the rules, but then as soon as he gets a chance, he robs the church.
Yeah,
because like he steals the box. He doesn't know what's in the box.
No, he has no idea.
It's hidden in the wall.
Yeah,
and then he starts. He sees it's like full of sunglasses,
and he's really upset about it.
And he starts digging through it, like, where's the good stuff?
He's like, where's the drugs or what? I don't know.
I was also like, you could just sell those sunglasses, bro.
Yeah,
that's right. You can get 50 cents a piece for those.
But, yeah,
let me real quick, guys. Let me go back a little bit. So you talk about the hijacking the television signal. This is still not solved today. The Max Headroom signal hijacking happened in 1987.
And no
one knows to this day who did it.
It had to be a cable company insider job or something. Like that's the only way it happened. It had to be somebody that had direct access to the satellite feed.
They turned Chicago upside down looking for these people.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So even if it was an insider job, then that person was able to lie their way out of federal investigation.
Want to know one of the key things difference between Max Headroom and these guys?
Mm-hmm.
Max Headroom didn't show his face.
That's true.
You don't show your face.
I'm just for the sake of the movie, I'm just saying that this is.
But yeah, the Max Headroom
the biggest thing that happened in a television hijacking was happening during the production of this movie.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, no, it was a big thing. I've read extensively about it, and we could talk for hours about it. But yeah, they really freaked out when that happened because they're like, oh my God, somebody like this thing that is not supposed to be vulnerable has been compromised. Like,
right, extremely vulnerable.
Like, if you can't control the airways, we got problems.
Yeah.
Real
quick.
Go ahead.
Say the last thing with the him in the church is I love when he's listening into him, and one of the guys like, we need new people, strong people, and I was like, oh, like professional wrestler, right?
That's right. There you go.
Oh yeah, no, the preacher knows what's up. He feels it. He feels his muscles. He's like, here, take some glasses. He's like, I've lost my eyes. We need a new guy.
I was like, that's convenient. You need strong people. Oh, there just happens to be a professional wrestler. He's snooping on your meeting right now.
I'm shocked that they just took the preacher's eyes and let him go instead of just disappearing him. Like they're not a good authoritarian regime. They should have just disappeared the preacher.
Yeah,
because he's not going to stop sending out his message.
There's a lot of things that the elites do that I'm just like
misinformation at that point. That
really easily handle this.
You know, he's crazy. Why would you listen to him? That's what they do. They're like, oh, he's crazy, and then just let him keep doing it. And then everybody's like, well, yeah, he's crazy. Any of the thing he says is nuts. So yeah, that's could happen.
So this is when the movie starts to ramp from 0 to 60.
Well, the last thing I want to point out is after he goes to the church and then leaves before things go to 0 to 60, he spends apparently the whole day
night.
Yeah, because he goes and he wants to spy in the church, so he walks to random kids and takes his borrows the binoculars. He sits down, looks at the church. He has a little conversation with Frank, but it is clearly daytime during this conversation.
Right.
And in the next scene, he is still in the exact same spot with binoculars looking at the church. And I'm like, you sat here, no one noticed you all day just spying on the church and said, like, what's going on, man? What's up? You've been sitting here for hours.
Yeah. Also, totally not concerned with going to work or anything.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the time of year, I mean, the sun goes down pretty quick. Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, it's pretty. Most of this movie, I mean, it is California. Most of this movie, it's pretty sunny, which is why they can get away with sunglasses. And so I'm just like, I don't know. This feels like late spring, early summertime, and this man just sat here. Anyways, yes,
I like movies that you don't have to think about all those details. They just run right through the story. That's the best kind.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like, what did he promise the one guy?
Yeah,
to get his binoculars.
Yeah.
He saves him later.
Yeah,
he saves him later,
and then randomly gives them to like they never cleared up if that was his family or not, or if he just forced. He's like, here, have a new son. Like, it was a weird moment, especially when they're all huddled together cuddling. I was like, I really hope that's his father. But in the next scene where they're kind of going through the rubble, he's like, and I'm not saying this doesn't mean they're not family, but the dad and the daughter are over here, and he's like in another section. So I'm like, are you family? Anyway, let's get on with it.
Anyway, so they get found out.
Yep.
And they send in the cops, and then they send in a lot of cops, and then they send
bulldozer.
in an army of cops. This is an insane number of cops, like just marching down the street, like they are raiding
full
Waco
riot
or
gear
something.
and just, storming this place as if it's like Normandy or something.
Yeah.
But they said like when he gets the glass and starts robbing the banks, they send like 100 cops after him.
Yeah,
they're just running down the street after him. It's crazy.
And so they're taking out everything, wrecking everything with their bulldozer. And as we watch,
totally doesn't remind me of anything else that might be happening in the world today.
Right,
somewhere in the middle of the planet.
Yeah,
the central area.
What are we talking about, Robert?
Maybe a little eastern to the middle.
But yeah, so they're getting everybody, they're rounding up so many people, and then we see a scene where two of the people, the hacker and the preacher, are being corralled by cops, and the hacker's getting it. He's getting worked.
Oh yeah.
And then they cut to the preacher, and the cops are struggling with the blind man and the cane. And I'm like, what is up with these cops?
That's because the hacker's got no weapon, but the preacher's got like a cane. He's got like some reach.
A cane.
wait for him to swing. Get in there. He ain't no Daredevil.
Yeah, but he's blind. You don't know how to dodge. His
right. You don't know what's going to happen.
There's like 5 of them. They should be able to take down this blind man. I'm sorry.
This guy
they are struggling.
They're all on program. He's crazy. Who knows what
I don't know what the cops were like in 1988. I imagine they're pretty bad. And of course, this is an alternate, but the cops were very nice. Like, I mean, obviously they're like storming places and they're tearing down villages and stuff, but they were very hesitant to just shoot a person.
Yeah, but
right.
They weren't hesitant to beat the crap
like,
out of that.
No, well, that's
like these days, everybody would have been shot within 30 seconds of being seen by any of these cops. Probably less than 30 seconds.
Right. True.
However fast they could pull their gun, they just kill them, just get them down.
Well, there's more guns on the street these days, I guess. There you go. Who knows who's got a gun?
This is true.
So Nada goes back to the church, or go after everything with the wreckage, and he saves the kid, and we have the weird "here's your son" moment. He goes back with everybody, and he goes to the church though, and he finds the box of glasses that were stowed. And then he's walking down the street, and he decides to put on a pair. And this was the worst scene to use to show us that something was different, because the first time he puts them on, I had to rewatch it over and over until I finally realized that the first time he puts them on, he's staring at the sidewalk, which is already gray and stuff. So he puts them on, and everything goes black and white. But if you're not paying attention to the edge of the sidewalk where there is a little bit of coloring, which I wasn't at first, you don't see it. So I was just
I watched this in 4K. I could tell the difference starkly, easily.
Oh, I did not. I just watched it.
It was also doing. They didn't really get into it too much, but it also was messing with your head. He was like,
which they hit on later, but they don't. It wasn't, you don't just see that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, for us, the viewers, I just was like, I literally of course he looks up and then eventually look at the sign.
Right. Yeah.
But this the first time he puts him on, in his shock, I was like, why is he shocked? He was looking at the ground. He put on the glasses. Nothing changed. And I had to rewind. I was like, what is going on? And finally I saw there's a little strip, a yellow pavement up above that's just barely in frame that goes to black and white. I was like, oh. Yeah, this was a terrible. Why didn't you just have him looking at a sign to start with? Just so
now,
there it is.
This actually gets to your earlier, issue with him having such a long walking scene. The long walking scene shows you the normal world.
Yeah.
You're totally immersed now in what would be considered what everybody else is seeing, and then when he gets the glasses, there you go. So I maybe overplayed it a little bit as far as you're concerned, but that's part of the deal there. So you see what it looks like, and that's what everybody else sees. And then
they did a lot of really subtle world building in this, without just shoving it down your throat, which was really awesome. So he puts them on the glass. He starts walking around. He starts seeing all these signs and taking the glasses on and off. He sees things that say obey,
consume, obey,
marry, and reproduce. The one that really got me was work 8 hours, sleep 8 hours, play 8 hours. I was like, oh, that hurts. That's the truth of it right there.
So he's going around and he's seeing all this stuff. Then he starts seeing weird skull-faced people.
He goes to a bodega, which is selling magazines and newspapers and stuff. And I tell you right now, I would pay good money to get my hands on that prop for that magazine. That's just white with a bunch of pages that say these really great,
it's probably out there.
Somebody's got it.
So
it's in a drawer somewhere.
They never tell us. I assumed, but then maybe not, that the aliens always see that stuff or know it's there.
I'm assuming they don't see it because the alien guy he sees
buys a newspaper, and I was like, "Why are you buying that? If all it says is consume and obey?" I was just like, "But maybe
I'm assuming the aliens are not affected by the undercurrent of stuff."
Well, no, I know they're not affected by it, but I just assume they always see it.
It's part of the illusion, so they have to go through the motions. If you go on,
really looked like he was reading that paper.
You think he's just seeing a white paper that says reproduce and be merry and stuff, but he's just pretending,
and skimming.
Or they had obviously different physiology, and so
no. I think that the aliens do not see the stuff that's being generated by the waves and.
So
all this stuff.
While watching this scene, I was like, if this movie, and like you said, this movie was not a flop, but it is not as big as the movie that did get this I don't know what you exception or award, not award, but is this scene has the perfect. Have you seen online the taking glasses off meme, right?
Oh yeah,
right, yeah.
Jurassic Park. I was like, this scene would be a perfect replacement for that. But I mean, Jurassic Park is a bigger movie, of course.
Right.
But I was like, this movie, if it had been a bigger movie, more of a hit, if more people, I mean, like I said, it wasn't a flop, but still, if more people were behind They Live.
Oh,
this would be the
memeable
meme
and gifable for sure.
Yeah, I was like, this would be the meme right here.
Well, but they in a weird way, there's a lot of memes where people discover things in the environment that aren't there, and that kind of mimics some of what's going on here. So I mean, it's not this movie specifically, but the ideas that this movie put out there are everywhere.
Yeah, true. But yeah, so he now decides that he's gonna he doesn't decide anything yet, but he's walking around wearing the glasses. He goes into a grocery store and he's looking at all the people, and then he starts doing, like I said, this is where I realized like Frank is not like the hero, and I mean he is the hero, but he's not the hero in the sense of like, oh, he knew what he was doing, because he very clearly he's heard all the stuff about, oh, watch he heard the preachers talking, the hackers talk about one is subservient, and and they want to dominate us and all this stuff, and there's an elite group out there. He's seeing this elite group for the first time. He's seeing all this propaganda everywhere, and the first thing he does is reveal that he can see them. He's like, you are ugly. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, he's not the smartest. He's not I would think he would at least be street smart, considering he's a vagabond, and he's survived this long, and obviously gets a lot of calories, for a homeless guy. But yeah, no, I'm like, no, you shut up.
Yeah,
you shut up until you figure out what's going on.
Figure out what is going on.
You watch the church for a whole day, and then this one you just blurt it out, right? Exactly.
Yeah, you don't just I mean, I'll forgive him in that, like, it's doing something to his brain. It's like physically causing pain, or getting him high or something. But yeah, you don't just walk up to a lady and give her the weirdest put down I've ever seen in a movie. It's like, it looks like someone put your face in the fondue pot in 1976.
Right.
Is that a thing, Bob? Bob, can you explain that to the youngins here?
I never understood fondue, to be honest with you. Yeah. I guess maybe her face looked like melted cheese. I don't know.
Well,
really.
So I mean, it's boiling cheese, right, in a fondue pot. So it's like it would burn your face off.
Right. Yeah.
If you dunk someone in it, but it's just like, why 1976? What happened
in 1976?
Very strange and specific put down. Yeah. And then they was like, what, a Jamaican plastic surgeon or Brazilian plastic surgeon? I'm like, what are the Brazilians dealing with in 1988? The They Live universe, that they're the pinnacle of fixing mangled faces in this universe.
I don't. That's a good question. I don't remember anything about that. Like nowadays, the joke is you go to Turkey and get hair and teeth.
Yeah. Oh,
and maybe there was a joke back then about plastic surgery and going to Brazil. So, well, actually, it could come from the whole Hitler lived in South America thing and had a new identity.
Interesting.
Argentina. Could come from that. Right. He was, but Brazil, Argentina, it's all, we're not so geographically knowledgeable back in the 80s, so.
Yeah. So now
they call it in that he can see them, and they get it.
We've got one that can see here.
And so he gets pulled up, and once again, this shows this is from 1988 and not today, because two cops pull up on him, and they're like, "Hey, why don't you come with us? Don't worry about it." And I'm like, "Nah." Today they hop out the car and shoot him. And they'd be like, "Oh, he was pulling on it." Like, I'm just like, no. Why don't you come with us? So they're just going to shoot you, and that's the end of it.
By the way, these aren't two regular cops. These are two alien cops.
Right? Yeah. How'd they draw short straw? They don't get to be rich. Come on.
So the way my takeaway to be rich, they just have to be cops in the day-to-day
power.
life.
In power, yeah.
Be shown.
So my takeaway was that. By the way, cops are pretty rich. They do pretty well.
Yeah,
there's like Seattle cops make like $300,000 a year.
What? That is
outlandish.
Yeah,
got
they
some
get all
really
this crazy
nice
overtime and stuff like that. It's kind of ridiculous.
They do make some.
Wow.
And they also refuse to respond to calls.
Yeah.
Well, that's understandable.
And then they still get their money, and they get their pensions paid for by the taxpayer. They don't have to pay for their own pension. It's crazy, but we don't have to get into that. But my takeaway from this interaction is the cops wanted to find out. They didn't want to kill him because they wanted to take him in and find out how can you see, what do you know, maybe convert him to their side, like, you know, brainwash him, or, you know, because they were like, oh, this might work out to both of our advantage if you come with us.
Yeah.
You know,
who gave you these
glasses? It might
have.
Yeah. But he fights the cops, takes them down, takes their gun,
but not just not just takes them. He shoots them. Which for everyone to understand, he leaves the bank, walks around the corner, and goes down an alley. So he's like,
no. This is before the bank.
Oh, yeah, sorry, not the bank. He leaves the grocery store. He leaves the grocery store, walks around the corner, goes down the alley. So he is maybe a block away from where all the aliens who were in that store saw him and reported it. Plus, there's just a bunch of normal people walking in the street, and these cops pull up, and no one hears these two gunshots ring out. No one is like,
nobody hears a lot of gunshots in this.
Yeah, I was gonna say
a lot of gunshots. I
would go with that.
That's what I was going to say. This is the start of it. Is I was like, then you realize either everybody in LA is deaf, or they just don't care. But even in some places where, but some of like all the ones that happen out in public, you could maybe say, well, yeah, that's just LA, man. It's a violent place. But later on, just jumping ahead, but later on when it's in the news studio, I'm like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
Sure. Maybe people are just inside to the point where, if I'm walking down the street, I hear some guns, it's like, hey man, that's LA. But when it's in my place of work, I'm gonna perk up when I hear some guns. What's going on?
Especially, it's not just a news studio, it's the headquarters for the takeover of the plant.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, he beats up the cops, he takes their guns, he gets in their car and takes their shotgun, and then he walks into a bank, and people are very chill about this situation. A man who is armed to the teeth, just walking into a bank. And then he says one of the greatest lines of all time. Is that
where this line comes from?
It has to be.
Yes, it is. It is where the line comes from.
I have heard this line. Everyone has heard this line.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have come to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
All out.
Made even more famous by what was the video game franchise? I got nothing. I don't
know. But yeah, I just gotta say, as far, like I said, he has just discovered this secret organization of aliens that are apparently ruling our planet. They got signs everywhere and all this stuff. And his thought process is, I have stumbled across this thing. It's not to get it out to the people. Like, everything he does for so long could so easily be written away as he is a crazed maniac, because he does it without adding anybody else. He goes into the bank, whips off a quip that to everybody else makes no sense. Why are you here to kick ass? You're not even robbing the bank.
No, because he sees a bunch of aliens.
I know. I'm saying from everybody else though. Like, if you're trying to start the human revolution, you just look like a crazed madman. You walk in with a quip and then just start blasting people on the bank.
Right.
Not even robbing the bank, where people are like, well, he wanted money. He's like, no, you're just killing. And you're just like, anybody who sees that, who's not an alien, is going to be like, that, which Frank is actually kind of, well, somewhat has that response. But I'm just like, you are not doing a good job of like, oh my gosh, the alien overlord.
Well,
do something to stop him. This ain't stopping him. This is just making it.
He's a loner.
He doesn't know what to do. He's going crazy.
There's better ways to be a loner.
He's got the Wawas from
there's a prequel. There's a prequel in this.
There's a prequel
that did. No, there's not. I'm saying there's a story that could be a prequel in this where he did it. He did the same thing to a biker gang in New Mexico. You know what I mean? This is really a typical Clint Eastwood stuff from the 70s.
No. I did have that written down. I was like, this is what they what the heroes did in some of the older movies. You just
guy with no name comes to town and takes names and kicks asses. That's the trope.
By the way, the video game I was thinking of was Duke Nukem.
Oh yeah,
Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
Every now and then he would say, "I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble."
And I think Roddy Piper wrote that line.
I'm gonna be surprised.
I bet he wrote a line about the fondue too.
Yeah, I think all of it is all stuff from wrestling that he used to, do stuff whenever he was doing the stand-up to the camera stuff. Yeah.
So during this insanity killing spree, he targets one of the aliens in the corner, who very calmly is still reporting everything to his watch. But I guess we see why, because then he promptly disappears. At this point, I was like, do they turn invisible or teleport? We find out later that it's not, I guess, teleporting, but it's like some weird tube system they got. But anyways, and then he leaves and stops. And once again, as I point out, there are cameras, because he looks at one. Once again, this man is like, it's a 90s movie, obviously, because this man is quipping all over the place, because he stops, looks at the camera. I can't remember what he says. I'm like, bro, you ain't got time to be doing quips. You're on the run. You're a mass killer right now. You can't be stopping and making quips. You got to get going.
This is prime quip movie time. I mean, Arnold did them.
I mean,
this was a 90s movie.
We've gone from 60 to light speed at this point. This movie is moving and will not stop.
No,
they will not slow down. It is just going.
But yeah, so he flees into a parking garage and kidnaps Holly.
Well, we should mention before that he runs into a human cop.
Oh yeah,
and takes his gun and lets him go.
Yes, because
he's not
completely deranged.
Yeah,
he just wants to kill the aliens.
Yeah,
right. Well, it flipped the switch in his head. He's like, I gotta take care of this.
Yep.
Which is why we should go back to the revolutionary guys and be like, yes, just hand out the glasses on the street. It will get it done.
I do not get why they're not like you were, and we do find out that there are collaborators. So maybe a little pre-screening before you start handing out glasses to just everybody. But overall, it's like the glasses show you who is and isn't human. So you don't have to worry about actually handing glasses to the aliens. And then also, maybe a little couple of questions, make sure people aren't collaborators. Even if they are, if you're just handing them out in mass, sure, you might get a couple collaborators, but you're gonna get so many more people who are seeing aliens. And I'm just like, I don't get why you're like, wake up. People like, you could wake them up. You could wake them up. Give them
they were waiting for the tipping point. They had to have enough glasses, with attrition to make sure that they tip the scales.
I guess.
So yeah, he goes to this parking garage and takes a woman hostage.
Yes.
And makes her drive. And this lady, Holly, played by Meg Foster, is an absolute psychopath.
Yes.
From the begining. She is way too chill about this.
So is he. Both of them are.
Well, he's tired. He's been up for 3 days. He's got the wah-wahs.
Sure. I gotcha. I feel that.
She's a television executive. Physical. What more do you need to know?
I can agree with that, Robert. He has been going strong for a couple of days, and he has and all this stuff. I mean, and he's been on the run. And his mind has been, but still, if you go and take somebody hostage, you don't let them walk around freely and do whatever they want. And then, but like you said, for her, she is which I guess is, maybe a hint to the end of the movie, but she is way too calm about this, way too chill.
Right.
I will point out that he does directly make sure to look at her and make sure she's not an alien.
An alien, right? Yeah. Maybe this is like the 4th time this year she's been abducted. Who knows?
Maybe.
No, and then she takes him back to the most 80s apartment I've seen. Well, not the house, a very 80s
house,
very 80s living space. Which is awesome. And then she seems like she's almost into it. She's just like she's way too chill, and it's just like, I'll let you do whatever you want.
Well, I don't think she's into it. I think she's trying to do the whole like. You can do whatever you want as long as you like trying to survive in a sense. But then, like I said, then she's like, I'm getting a drink, and he's like, cool, whatever. And I was like, no, cool, whatever. I will get you a drink if that's what you want to do. I'm not letting you go walk around freely in your house that you know what's better than me. You might have a gun in the drink cabinet. I don't know. I'm just like, you do not just like let her get a drink. I'm like, no. You sit down. I tie your hands. I will get a drink, which is just going to be water, brother. I'm not getting no alcohol.
Hey, the lady deserves a drink.
Well, back in the 80s, everybody drank all day long. So, that was.
Oh, then fine. Still, I will still be the one pouring. You will be sitting and lie down. not walk
You'd
around
have to put the
freely
gun
in
down
your
for that.
house.
I love the detail of he gets there, he sits down, and as soon as he takes a moment to rest, he just almost falls asleep and passes out.
Right. Yeah.
Like this man has been going hard.
Yes.
And I really like the realism of that he just sits down and he's just like, oh my
This
God.
is a nice couch.
We go from realism to unbelievable in like 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Because she gets her drink and then he tries to convince her to wear the glasses. She won't.
Yeah.
And he gets distracted looking out the window and she smacks him over the back of the head and kicks him out the large window where he falls at least 2 stories. And then after falling 2 stories, he hits a hill that he rolls down multiple times and then he bounces up. Not a scar on him. I mean, honestly, I think he should be dead. But if he's not dead, he should have broken bones. If not that, he should at least be pretty banged up. But he looks just as good as when he got
less than 30 feet. So he was okay. It was all right.
Can we talk about this lady who's an absolute psychopath? I mean, we know when we get to
know
the end,
officially she is.
Like she just nonchalantly throws him through a pane of glass.
Yeah.
Like I know that's not
then calmly calls
like
the cops.
Triple thick plexiglass, like we have these days, but she would not be able to do that physically. And I'm just like,
and then
maybe it's better that he got thrown away from this woman. He is more dangerous than he is.
Calmly calls the cops while drinking her drink. And she's like, and then they're like, can we place you at home? Like, yeah, I can hold. I'm like, you don't hold when a psycho, like if you truly hold. You're a psychopath after shooting up a bank. I would not be like, yeah, I can hold. Even if I did throw him out a window, I'm like, no, you get the cops here now. But she's like, yeah, I can hold. It was
you said Seattle, they didn't even respond. So, it's probably.
I mean, it makes sense once you find out her character at the end, why she's so calm about it and not freaking out. But a plot point, at least from a new viewer, is that he drops his glasses there at her place.
Man.
So he doesn't have the glasses anymore, so he has to go and get another pair of glasses from the trash. Has to get in the back of the trash.
Well, real quick,
thing
before he does that, he goes to see Frank at the construction yard. And I just got to say, Frank is a real one when it comes to, because he has known this man for a total of maybe 2 days. And it's a random dude who just stumbled to town, knows nothing about it. And then said man that he's known for a total of 2 days goes on a killing spree. And Frank is like, hey, man, you get out of here. You're lucky I don't turn you in. Like, I'm turning you in the instant I was like, who? And then the letter comes to give him his check. I'm like, hey, man, you go get yourself hidden. I'm like, the man, you don't know about the alien jet. You don't know about anything. So as far as you know, this is a random drifter who rolled into town, worked 2 days, and surprisingly, the 2 days you were with him, also, not saying it's directly him, but the place you were living at got raided by the cops after he showed up. And then the next thing you know, he's on the news murdering a bunch of people at the bank. And he was like, here's your paycheck, man. Now you better go get yourself hidden. I'm like, you better not. You better call the cops. I'm like, Frank, what is going on in your life where you're like, I'm not going to help you, but I'll give you your money and tell you like I'm, watch your back.
See, there's no support in the new generations. Back then you're okay. Sure, you murder or what have you. You have a bad day.
But I've known you for 2 days and we work construction.
You get your check and you move on,
So anyway,
nowadays you turn everybody in. Oh my gosh. The aliens have won.
They did win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They 100% did.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of this movie, the aliens are not giving up.
Yeah.
This is not the end.
There's no way that this movie ends with the humans.
They need our resources. They're sending a bigger fleet.
Well, I don't even think they need to send a bigger fleet.
Wait till you find out this was a documentary and then whammo.
Yeah. I won't be surprised.
So anyway, Frank does eventually come back to find Nada, and they get into a fight because Nada wants him to put on the glasses, and Frank doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to be part of it, and they fight from 56 minutes and 11 seconds into this movie to 1 hour, 1 minute, and 22 seconds into this movie.
Right.
Again, we already talked about this, but got to be one of the longest one-on-one fights.
Longest one-on-one fight.
Good.
And for the listeners, if you haven't seen the movie, once again, this is in the middle of downtown LA, in the middle of the day. It's not nighttime, and they're in an alley that you can see a main street going by. And eventually, some aliens do be conveniently at the end of the fight when he gets the glasses on Frank, so there's something for him to look at. Some aliens do happen to walk by. I'm like, 2 men are beating each other to death in an alley in the middle of LA in broad daylight, and nobody saw him.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I guess maybe that's
Nobody
it. Maybe
cares.
that's another part of this movie talk about society is how much people don't care, because there are two men fighting to the like they're going at it. I'm just like, at one point Frank grabs a bottle and Nada grabs a stick, and like he swings hard and he misses and breaks a car window, and Frank realizes after that, like, oh, I could have really messed up, or Nada realized that I could have really messed up Frank, and tries to apologize, but like they were both like armed with things that they could have killed each other with, and they were not holding back.
I mean, these are vagabonds, man. This is not their first hobo fight.
This is bum fights or whatever. Yeah, bum fights. There you go.
He killed in the hobo world, let me tell you.
Yeah. There's go ahead. I'm gonna tell you something about the fight scene. There's a story
We're
behind
moving
the
on
fight
from
scene.
the fight scene after that. Let's go ahead.
Okay. So there's a documentary called They Still Live where they talk about all these things. You guys should watch this. And the fight scene was not supposed to be that long. And Roddy Piper and Keith David worked on it, like did all the choreography themselves, right? So Roddy Piper obviously knows how to coordinate a fight. And John Carpenter loved it so much that he just kept the whole thing. He'd let him do it all, and he kept the whole thing in.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I mean, they needed to pad some time. This movie is only 94 minutes long.
Yeah.
What's an extra 3 minutes of fight scene?
But you've also got a star who is a wrestler. So why won't you have a good, key moment where he's showing off the skills that he knows best? So but both of them, I think that was both of them throughout the whole fight scene. There was no other people involved in filming this, shooting this. No stunt people.
I would bet, because I was about to say, I would feel like Roddy Piper would, especially being a professional wrestler, this is kind of what he does for a living. He would be like, well, I'm going to do this scene. I don't need a stunt double. And then I just feel like, Keith David was like, well, if he ain't got a stunt double, I don't need one. So I can very much believe that.
Another piece of trivia: Juilliard trained Keith David.
Interesting.
Okay.
The man is a serious actor, even though he's in this movie, but he's a very serious actor.
This is a serious movie.
It's subject matter. It's on a serious subject matter. The movie itself is not. You don't put a 5-minute fight scene in a serious movie, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, Keith, but Frank and Nada, they team up now that they have the glasses. I like when they go to the hotel. Nada or Frank's the one who's like, I'm renting the room. Like, you can't put Nada's name on anything right now. He's the most. The fact that
they don't know who he is.
The fact that he's still walking around, his picture has been all over the place, and the fact that he's still walking around in broad daylight, I'm like,
you got to think that there's probably half a dozen shootings in Los Angeles every day.
Oh, especially 1988.
Yeah.
I
mean, so
but not all of them have their face plastered on, because I would imagine the aliens are doing extra. If this, like I said, there might be half dozen students, but only only Nada is the guy who they know can see them, and since they control the media, that's going to be the hyped up story. It doesn't matter if another shooting happened down the road. Like, I don't care. Get back to the Nada story. Get that man on every TV all the time until we find him.
So they make it to this hotel room.
Yep.
And it's almost like a no-tell motel. Like
that's what I think it was.
Right, yeah.
But then I like that. And they do their hobo bath and talking like, and then for some reason Gilbert, the leader of the
once again stumbling backwards into saving the day, because I'm like, if he hadn't randomly bumped into Gilbert in the hall, or not Frank does in the hallway, that he wouldn't be led to the resistance to help save the day. So I'm just like, they have no plan of what to do. Neither one of them knows has any clue. They literally sit down and be like, what are we doing? I don't know. We're just waiting for what? What are we waiting for? You have no plan. And then Gilbert just magically spawns in the hallway to save the day.
We need a plot point here, guys. We got to keep this story going.
Yeah.
So
So they go to this resistance meeting. By the way, they trust this man a whole lot for, I mean, I guess he has been shooting up aliens and he has the glasses and can see and stuff.
Yeah.
But he gets to this meeting and then the lady's like, oh, you should take those off. We're all human here.
I was like, I instantly do not believe. Exactly. I was like, that's the most suspicious line in this movie. The moment it's like, well, we're all human here. It's like, right. Like, if there was ever a time like I said, with Nada's propensity to shoot first and ask questions later, I'm like, if there was ever a time to shoot first, ask questions later, Nada, this woman is the one. I'd be like, nope, taking her out.
Yeah, I thought it had been a long time since I'd seen the movie, but I thought the plot point was going to be like, oh, the leader is really going to be, it's going to come out of a back room, make sure that nobody's got their glasses, and then he's going to turn out to be an alien or something. But then she brust out these contacts, and she's like, "Oh, these are new." And I'm like, "What? From 3 days ago? Just developed them? Like everybody's been wearing the glasses. Why y'all been hoarding the contacts?"
So they get the contacts. He's at the meeting and hearing all about what's going on. They wrap global warming into this even, and then he sees Holly, and he's like, "I'm just gonna go chat to her." I'm like, I don't know, if a woman threw me through a pane glass window and down a mountain, I don't know if I'd be so readily able to just trust her. Which is like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." You're so sorry. You're so sorry.
Well, for the global warming thing, my assumption is they were saying they were terraforming the planet.
Yeah,
that was my take.
Well, that's what they
like
do
the arrival.
They do infer that, but they also talk about how they use the planet for resources and then leave. So I'm like, are they terraforming or are they just like they say both plots during the movie?
I mean, it takes a long time to mine a planet of its resources.
I guess.
Yeah, a little bit of both,
Yeah.
This
is the intermediate phase. This is like they haven't completely taken over and finished the job yet. This is kind of like they're just getting started, but they've also been there for a long time.
So then this meeting gets raided, and if you thought the church raid was intense, the cops come in full force in this raid, which I mean, rightly so, they think terrorist cell, but still they got machine guns, they got riot gear, they come in force in this one. I was like, the cops are not joking around this time, and they kill pretty much everybody because they make us watch it too. They just keep killing everyone.
Have we seen the drifter guy from the homeless thing yet? Are you guys up to that point? Okay,
we're about to him. That's basically next. So I do like, so Frank steals a watch that, well, not steals, but grabs a watch that one of the guys had been working on, trying to figure out how to use it. And I guess you could say maybe he did most of the hard work. I don't know, but he says, "Yeah, I've been working on this watch for a while, and all I can do is get it where you can listen in, but I don't know anything else." And then Frank, while they're hiding while being shot at and in danger, Frank somehow figures out how to use the teleportation system.
I think he figures it out. I think he accidentally
or
when it gets shot, it activates.
Maybe that's it. I'll take it getting shot because, like, the guy said he's been working on this watch for a while. He hasn't actually. If it was easy enough for Frank to accidentally trigger the portal, I feel like the guy who's been working the watch for at least a couple of days.
Well, maybe it's audio triggered, so the gunshots.
I was say maybe the gun
emergency,
I like
holes.
Well, it would have triggered already because there's been a lot of gunshots at this point.
Well, no, you gotta have the gunshots and hit the button.
Yeah,
maybe. I'm trying to think outside the box here.
They escape into the underground tunnels that the aliens use. And then did you guys see the Ghostbusters in this movie?
No.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So while they're walking to that hallway, Robert, you know how they come across those two guys who are talking, hearing about how the raid was a success?
Yeah, the guards.
Yeah, they're holding, and this is what I love about older movies. You don't see this anymore today because they don't reuse props, but they're holding a PKE meter.
Right, PKE
that's their radio.
Yeah.
It has the little flip out things and everything.
That's
what they're talking into.
Totally.
I was like, we got the Ghostbusters up in it. But I made sure at first I was like, am I mystery? But I went and actually looked it up, and I'm like, no, that is exactly the exact same prop used 4 years earlier by the Ghostbusters.
Right.
That's funny. So they make their way to this ballroom, where there's a big speech and dinner going on, basically saying like, hey, it's going well, taking over the planet, and we're all getting rich off of it. And he's scanning the room. He's just allowed to just stand there.
Yeah, I don't know
how. Into high heaven.
Look, once again, these are the aliens.
Yeah,
I feel like every one of them should know his face because they were posted, and he's just standing in the back of the room chilling. I'm like,
but nobody's paying attention.
They're busy. They're busy.
If you're in a room full of people in tuxedos and glamorous clothes, and then two average Joes walk in, you're gonna notice them. I'm sorry, you're gonna see the two guys.
The guy giving the speech and the guy giving the speech.
Yeah, they're not paying attention to anything.
And also,
if I'm on stage scanning the room, and everybody is wearing tuxes and luxury dresses, and two guys wearing jeans and overalls come walking in. I'm going to notice them. I'm probably like, hey, who are those guys? Why are they here in our elite dinner banquet?
Well, I mean, I think yes, you could say that, but then like when the guy who was in the homeless camp, in the earlier part of the movie, he shows up in a tuxedo and he's like, "Oh, you guys probably should have changed for this." I'm like, it's probably happens pretty regularly that someone who looks like a homeless person shows up at one of these meetings just because he's coming from the job.
Well, so that's what
infiltrating the underside of.
So that's
society.
what you two have brought up, and I'm like, did they say somewhere in this that he was pretending to be? Because I got the indication that he had proven his worth and he got to become an elite.
Yes.
Not that he was already a part of the.
No, I think he gave information or something, and
so that's
he took
like,
the easy route to
say, regularly have.
Oh no, I take it the other way. I take it that he was always one of them.
No, I took it. I turned it in.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Also, I don't know. Like I said, that's all. I wasn't sure if you guys had seen something I hadn't or not. But that's the thing. So neither. I don't know which one is right because they never clear this up. He's just now a part of the cabal. Maybe he was always a part of it.
I think he says, "Why fight it, guys?" or something like that. You know, hey, you can be rich too. You know what I mean? And that's why I think he kind of gave up the homeless encampment. That's why they got destroyed and everything. And then they said, okay, great. Now we're gonna boost your social level and give him money and give him some stupid job that or what have you to keep him happy.
My reasoning that he was always in on it was that he was so quick to just dismiss everything that was going on the pirate radio signal.
And like I said, you can take it either way. They never tell us.
Either way,
he
seems to know if he did just join, they're very quick to just show you everything.
That's what I was
indoctrination,
like. Indoctrination, just joined. They just allow you to go wherever, so whatever.
They're like, here's our faster than light teleporter. Here's our dish where we send the signal. Here's our news station where we give the propaganda. It's like they just, and he immediately just starts walking them around. And
maybe he got the news station manager.
Let me show you what we do here. And I'm like, I feel like there should be levels to this. You work your way up to seeing the light.
Oh yeah. So a homeless guy. If he's been with them for like a day, they're already giving him a teleporter bracelet.
That's day one.
Also, here's another item in my bucket for that he's always been with them for a long time. Is he talks like he's been using those teleporter bracelets for a long time. He's like, we're not supposed to use it unless it's emergency, but it's just so easy to get around with.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
Still, even if he's been with them for a long time, he knows 100%, or in his mind, that Frank and Nada are new, and he's still like, let me show you all the top secret tech. I'm just like, I feel like you should let people work their way up.
This is all known stuff, you guys.
He brings them to the news studio where they are currently doing a broadcast of news to keep people subservient. And Nada decides, like, I'm putting into this. How do I get in there? And they're like, oh, we'll let you, or you guys got your badges. And I was like, I got mine right here. Pulls out his gun and blasts some people. I'm like, and this is where I'm like, you're in your news. They make it clear that where the broadcasters are is soundproof, but everything else around them could not be soundproof. Not that soundproof. And even if it is that soundproof, everyone else in the news studio, I'm like, no one heard those two gunshots or the plethora of gunshots that start going off.
This is also in closed space. The ears of the people in that little room would be ringing. Frank and Nada. And the homeless guy. And then that sound would have like gone down the hallway into the ballroom. Like it was just
everybody should have heard that. But they don't, because like while they do start sending troops, as they go through this building, they keep getting to parts of it where people are just still doing their work until Frank and Nada show up. So I'm just like, I feel like you should have heard some gunshots.
So he attacks the studio. And then he's like, oh, we got to get to the roof.
And if Holly's here conveniently, she can help us.
Right.
And so they go to find Holly. He keeps asking people for where Holly is or where the stairs are. All the while fighting through the building. They finally find Holly. and C agrees to help them, and they start heading to the roof. And this is where the big twist comes, but not as big as you would expect. Where they get to the roof, and or they get to the right before the roof, and Nada heads up, and Holly pulls out a gun and kills Frank. And all I could think is, no, Frank. That's wife and kid in Detroit.
No,
he was one day from retirement.
That's right.
Detroit, folks.
I almost saved enough money for my family in Detroit, but not now. Oh.
But Holly turns out to be a collaborator. Once again, I don't know how Nada didn't hear her murder Frank behind him.
There's lots of gunshots going off in this place.
At that point, so Holly gets the draw on him, and then the helicopter shows up. They tell him to put down his gun, and he has like I don't know guns. I'm not great with guns, but it looks like a decent sized handgun originally. And he puts that down,
right?
Yeah,
and then he pulls out one of those little handguns you like keep in your boot,
right?
And he shoots Holly. And once again, I don't get why they don't just the elite the police, the elites and stuff are terrible. They're like, just shoot the man, just shoot the man. I don't know why they didn't shoot. They eventually do, but it's too late. But then he turns the little shoe gun onto the satellite dish and shoots it once, and it explodes. And I'm like, that's not how any of that works. I don't know.
Well, you don't know the system. It's an alien system. It's totally charged.
I'm like, honestly,
lead is explosive in the
size of that
field.
gun, and thinking that the disc is made out of metal. I'm like, honestly, I don't even think if he shot it, he could pierce it. I think the bullet would just stay off and just bounce back. So I'm like, this explosion is absurd.
So immediately after the satellite explodes, the whole like curtain comes down.
Yeah,
right. And everybody can see the truth. Yeah, I'm just like, how stupid are these aliens? This is not the first time they've done this.
I'm like, why don't you have multiple discs?
Yeah,
satellites. Also, I'm like, is this the whole world?
Yes.
Or is this just California? Because if it's the whole world, it's even more. Why don't you have discs all over? Why isn't it more heavily guarded?
Yeah,
like this would be like top secret. This would be at Area 51, locked down behind military and all this stuff.
I hate to tell you guys this, but do you know that war plans got sent out on a regular app called Signal?
Don't bring up how stupid our world is.
Look, that's today. That's not 1988.
I'm just saying,
secret's better in 1988.
They're no smarter or dumber than anybody in position. But
here's the thing. Here's the thing, Bob. Here's the difference. We're supposed to believe this is an elite alien race, not some dumb humans. And I'm like, you're just as dumb as us. How are these aliens? How do these aliens have light speed travel and we don't? If they're just as dumb as us,
I don't know. Man, I was reading about a story today that was talking about it's like aliens. Oh, somebody had asked on Reddit, hey, what's the most failed attempt of aliens to invade Earth? And someone was saying like, the War of the Worlds and whatnot. Obviously, the really funny one is the dog that eats the entire, armada and whatever.
Right,
Science is pretty good, but there's
an alien race.
There's a short story that I don't know the name of where the aliens have faster than light travel, but when they land on Earth, they've got flintlock muskets.
Really?
And of course, Earth has like machine guns and tanks and missiles and stuff.
Right.
And then they capture some of the aliens and they find out that there's like a gravitational drive that's super simple and we just missed it. So our war technology and stuff continued to grow, but all these other alien planet races in the galaxy, like they figure out how to do like anti-grav faster than like travel.
Light speed travel is simpler than like automatic rifles.
Correct. Yeah. But we just
it could be for all we know.
It's that one of the humans never got the idea to discover that tech, and so their tech kept going. Whereas like the other races, when they learned that, their tech
it's like
stopped.
as simple as like, hey, did you guys realize if you put diesel in an unleaded engine, it creates a light speed?
Yeah.
It's like that simple.
We don't. That's a good question. We have no idea. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Have you looked at a car? Do you guys ever work on cars? It's incredibly complicated.
No. I am not a car person. I love cars. I love driving. I like going fast, but I am not. That someone else can fix my car.
Incredibly complicated piece of machinery for getting you around. Yeah.
I mean, it's driving on a miniature explosions over and over.
I mean, you never know. Because it's like we didn't even understand what combustion was until like 70 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like we understood that we could take this substance and we could light it on fire and it would explode, but we didn't understand why.
Yeah, 100 is a little over 100 and 120 some years ago, 130 years ago. Yeah,
but
still, that's really new in the
really recent in the scope of humans.
You know, and we've had magnets and we've had copper for a long time, but figuring out that we could like wrap one in the other and spin it, then create electricity.
Actually, that was at the same time. Actually, it was before that.
This is a weird skew for the podcast, but I will always say the amount of stuff we have figured out in relative recent history compared to the entirety of how long mankind has been here is like, yeah, it's actually baffling how much stuff we have achieved in the last couple hundred years. That is just like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
Ben Franklin played with electricity, called the power of points. If you look under power of points, they were fiddling with electricity way back then. So,
yeah.
All right.
I mean, not the lightning on the key and all that, the kite and the key.
I mean,
talking
if you go
about
back to like
playing with stuff.
Like 1,000 years ago in Iraq, they had batteries.
Right, they had the Baghdad battery. Yeah,
made out of like clay jars and stuff. Yeah, I don't know what they were using the battery for. That's what I want to know is what they needed the battery
for. What
was
it for?
Like we just have the battery. We don't know what it was charging. We don't know what kind of weird video game system they had it was running. You know, like
they were making toast.
There we go.
Yeah.
So the veil gets dropped to finish up this movie.
Yeah.
And then it starts showing like, you know, all different scenes of that. And then I guess John Carpenter at the very end was like, oh shoot, it's a B movie. We forgot to put in boobs.
Yeah, that's what I literally thought. Is literally the last scene.
Like we need the R rating.
Is a woman having sex with a guy, and you get to see her topless, and then the guy turns out to be an alien. I'm just like, and that's where the movie ends. Real quick.
By the way, funny ending.
Yeah,
very funny, very funny.
Mm-hmm. But it was unnecessary to put random boobs in this movie. Which definitely messed with
we skipped over that Nada is a martyr hero or whatever, because he does die. But I also got to say, the aliens win. Still, even with this veil dropped, I'm like, they got light speed travel. They're gonna have more aliens here in an instant, and I'm just like, just now the human can see them. Yeah, there might be a little bit of a fight, but there's gonna be a lot more panic and running and screaming. And I'm like, this movie is like phrased like, and then Nada saved the world. It's like, no, Nada just showed everybody that there were aliens here, and now the aliens just
the elite. They go to stay in power.
Yeah, they go to the next part of their plan, which is total control of the planet and knowing us knowing they're here. And so I was like, this movie, the aliens still win.
Exactly. It was great. It's great, right?
Movie, great movie for my first time seeing it. Very much enjoyed it. Liked it
fun movie. Fun. Very fun.
Was not expecting so much with it. Like I said, Roddy Piper was a shock. I didn't know that was happening. Young Keith David being in here, and just a lot of fun. And then I wasn't expecting it to also be so topical and current. That was another thing where I was like, you sure this movie wasn't written recently?
This is a timeless cult classic.
It is.
For sure.
It is
timeless. Yeah, exactly. And that's part of the appeal to me is it's an action movie. It's got some humor, right? But it's also got these really deep questions that they don't answer, but they allude to that everybody's being tricked or everybody's being, taken advantage of. And the elite are taking advantage of the poor. The rich are taking advantage of the poor. It's got classism. It's got everything, right? And then people are jumping class because they don't want to be poor anymore, and so then they get these positions and class jump just because they're helping out the bad guys,
and they're willing to turn on their own people essentially,
right?
Because, I get the status. Exactly. So yeah.
Well, and the crime is rampant because two people can fight in an alley for 5 minutes and nobody gets crap.
And you can nonchalantly walk into a
shoot
bank
all over the town and in a news studio and a bank. And people just go about their daily business.
Who cares? Yeah.
Now that's happening every day.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think that it hits a lot of points in, kind of the social schema, not only of then, but of still, right, of now, that is happening. And it's just, we haven't learned a thing.
That I will say, I did while watching this movie. I enjoyed it, but there was a little part of me that was like, I'm a little sad watching this movie because I'm like, yeah, no, we're still dealing with all this. It's been 40 years, folks.
Now,
like, this movie.
You think of Carpenter? Carpenter came up in the 60s and early 70s, so he's just a hippie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he just got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame just the other day.
Oh,
literally within the last day or two, he got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for all of what he's been doing. And but yeah, he's just a hippie that likes to make movies.
Yeah.
And this, now think about that. This is well past his college days when he made this movie. Same problems, all the same problems are in existence.
Hey, like I said at the beginning, these are the same problems that humanity's been dealing with for 10,000 years.
For 10,000 years, yeah.
Like all the wars, all the battles, it's always just been a war between the elite and the proletariat.
Right.
And, yeah.
It's nuts. It's totally nuts.
All it's ever been. All it's ever been. Yeah.
Yeah. And awesome. The weird thing to me about the movie is, to be honest, Roddy Piper is probably the weakest part of this movie. I mean, he did a good job, right? He didn't like destroy the movie with his, his version of this or anything. And it is a B movie, but as far as, acting prowess, everybody else I thought did better than him.
Oh, I don't think his most famous did a good job acting in this movie. They didn't do.
Keith David
do like
didn't
a bad
do a good job. Oh my gosh,
he did all right. He didn't do a bad job. Yeah. He did an acceptable job. Everybody did an acceptable job.
Well, you got to figure they only did 1 or 2 takes as well.
Yeah, right. They only had a $3 million budget.
Right.
And most of that was spent on a exploding satellite.
Right. And the cop things where they take over the television station and the homeless camp. Yeah.
And renting banks and things. Yeah.
But overall, though, I mean, it's such a fun movie to watch on any level, right? So you just want to see people get beat up. It's great.
I would put it on my list of a movie everyone should see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Easily, this is going to go on my. This is my. Everyone should see this movie at least once.
And if I don't know where you guys, whenever you rate things and so forth, but if a movie, when it's done and years later you still want to talk about it, that is a great movie. Yeah. No matter how well it's made or how well it's acted or any of that stuff, if it still incites, thoughts and ideas, it's way better than most stuff that's happening every day or every year that we get to see. So,
well, Bob, before we wrap this up, do you want to plug anything?
I'm going to be taking over a television station here soon.
Not that kind of plugging. Where can people find you?
Oh, okay. You can always find me at Static Radio, staticradio.com. I'm actually doing something new for fun as well, I guess. And it's about weird happenings in the world. So paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, stuff like that. And it's obviously comedic in nature. It's called Mondo Frico at mondofricopodcast.com. We've got a few episodes out there right now. Excellent. The most recent one is the Overtown Bridge, which is a bit of a weird paranormal thing in Scotland.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's short too. It's only about half an hour.
Perfect. That's my commute, 30 minutes.
There you go. Exactly.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. This has been the Watchin It podcast. You can find us on our website, watchinitpod.com. There you can find links to support us on Patreon and Spotify. You can also find links to email us on our other social media, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. Donnell, what else should they do?
Well, we got our website where we are posting regularly. Got some blogs up there. I have no idea when this episode is going up, so I can't tell you what blogs are on there. But there is some good stuff, so go check it out yourself. See what we're writing about. I know we're movies we're watching and stuff. I mean, this might come out. Nah, this will probably come out before we go see Thunderbolts. So yeah, but there'll probably be some review of
Thunderbolts. We probably just finished up Daredevil.
Probably.
That's probably where.
Yeah. But anyways,
maybe.
Go check out the blog. And then, as always, if you have any input, send us email, as I've already said. And as always, give us any ratings, reviews, 5 stars. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Oh, that's a good sound to have on the audio. You'll have to cut that out. You just